This live is a long time request from our fans. Oh, it's so nice that you would consider yourself a fan.
Hi everyone, welcome to Tati TV, where I bring the classroom to you. I'm Hannah John, and today I'm going to share some highlights from my most recent Instagram live. Stay tuned. So a few days ago I had the chance to do my first Instagram live, and it was actually quite fun. I was so fortunate to be able to meet with current students and former students and also prospective students, so those who are interested in coming to our university and this program, but also just Korea in general. And so I want to give a shout out to everyone who joined. Thank you so much for joining. And you asked some great questions, so I wanted to keep that archived well on my YouTube channel. And so I hope you enjoy, and yes, I look forward to my next live as well.
Hello! I'm aiming for 5 people to join me. Oh, I see GSIS students. It's so nice to see everybody. Those who are current students also, I see some graduates. And there also might be those who are not students yet, but it's great to have you here. I just wanted to say hello. It's a little bit of a different medium, I think, than YouTube and even some of my posts, so it's just really great to see everyone here. Congratulations to all of our Ewha GSIS students on your graduation, and hello to all of our current students who are getting ready for the semester. And also to wish everyone who's starting their new term for the spring all the best. Oh, so many hearts and waving. I feel so loved. So nice to see everybody here. I actually had my first class today, so it's a public holiday here in Korea, so we've been playing, sort of. Today there's no actual kind of physical class, but I uploaded an online lecture, and so my students have probably already seen the online lecture, and so they're, yes, probably deciding whether or not they should take my class or not. I actually get quite a few students who drop my classes, so it's okay. I know it's kind of the shopping period. You're trying to figure out whether it's the best course for you this semester. So I don't take it personally. And even if you don't take my class, please feel free to visit me during office hours. Thank you, Amanda. Their loss if they don't take my class. Actually, they'll probably have less heartache. Hi, Vintage. You're planning to come to GKS this September. Oh, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Does that mean that you already finished your kind of language? It'd be great if you could let me know. This is the first time I'm doing a live, and so I asked some of my students who are kind of experts at Instagram lives how best to moderate or run the Insta live session. And so I think they said just have a few questions ready if they're shy to say anything. So the first question I had was, did you have dinner? And if you had dinner, what did you have? I would love to hear what you have for dinner. What's your kind of comfort food before your semester begins? Oh, Yaslan had 부대찌개. That's one of my favorites. So it's like a Korean military stew. And yes, I make a pretty good 부대찌개 also. Oh, Louisa had pizza and Kula had pizza. Did you have pizza together? Oh my goodness. There's so many good places in Korea as well. I'm a plain cheese kind of margarita pizza person. Sometimes pepperoni, but I think I'm just like really simple. Yes. I'm kind of boring that way. Oh dear. Am I a dog or a cat person? I think they're both very lovely. Dogs and cats. I've never had either as kind of a pet, and so I can't really tell from experience. The really cute kind of small dogs I love, and the small kind of kittens I love. So I guess it's more about size than the type of animal. Always your classes talk about food and not live stream too. Yes, Amanda, you know me so well. And Jyoti says, you remember commenting on your videos and now you're in South Korea via GKS. Congratulations, Jyoti. Oh, I'm so glad you found my videos helpful, but more than anything, it's just your amazing hard work, and that's why you're here. Please enjoy South Korea, and especially since we're easing social distancing kind of measures, hopefully that'll mean you have more time to get to know people around you. And of course, if you ever come to Seoul, especially Ewha, I would love to see you in person. So nice to see you. You'll be attending Aju, but you would love to meet me in person. I would love to see you in person. Aju Daehakkyo is a great university. I'm sure you'll have a great time over there. And yes, a lot of great universities in Korea. I hope you don't get the impression from my channel that Ewha is the only amazing university in Korea. There are a lot of great universities. I just happen to be a little biased because I'm here right now. And yes, hello, love from India, love from Korea. I'm sending love from Korea right now. Oh, lots of students from India I think are joining as well. It's always nice to have you. I have quite a few students from India as well in my classes, and so yes, very, very motivated students. Will I be visiting the US again anytime in the future? I hope so. Once the kind of quarantine restrictions are more relaxed, I think it would be much easier to move back and forth. Happy 1st March movement, Beitut. Is it okay to say it that way? Sure. We'll understand that. In Korean, we call it 3일절. So 3일 is literally 3-1. Thank you for trying. And I was thinking, since most students or everyone here, you probably have a lot of things to do. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, so I was thinking maybe 15 minutes or so, but we'll see how things go. 안녕하세요, 교수님. 안녕하세요. You attended KDI school for Ph.D. Hopefully we can meet. It'd be great. For anyone who's here in Seoul or around Seoul, I'd love to meet with you. It would just be a matter of kind of scheduling times and days. And KDI, of course, is a great school. How was my holiday today? Oh, it was very relaxing. I tried to get a little work done before kind of the semester really got started. I'm just trying to take it easy. It's always kind of a bit of an adrenaline rush, I think, when the semester begins, and so I was just trying to prepare for tomorrow. And you're so nice. Oh, and you're so nice for saying that. Thank you so much. But I think you're giving me just really positive energy, and so I'm going to take that and cherish it. For those who are preparing for a new semester, you should have already received a message from your academic advisor, just kind of to welcome you. If you haven't received a message yet, no, you'll get a message soon. Your professor should be able to get in touch with you very soon. It's actually been maybe a couple of days since we received the list of advisees, and so some professors might just want to wait until the beginning of the semester. What should you do if they don't get in touch with you? Send them a quick message. Especially if you're a new student, just send them a message and say, hello, I'm such and such, and this is my student number, majoring in something. I'm a new student and I'm very excited to be working with you this semester, and it would be great to touch base or to meet you once kind of the busyness of the beginning of the semester subsides. And so I think it'd be great if you could show that energy and initiative to your professors as well. It might also help in the email to give a kind of action point, because sometimes it's difficult for professors to answer an email if it's just, hi, nice to see you, goodbye. And so maybe you could ask something like, I was wondering when your office hours might be this semester, just to chat with you. And then if there's an actionable point, there might be a higher chance that you could get a reply from your professors. Apart from academic, what should I do to get a scholarship in Korea? Okay, so I'm thinking, apart from academic scholarships, what can you do? Oh, maybe not a lot. It might depend on each university. It might depend on each department. I think it's really dependent on kind of the programs and resources that are available. Even if it's not strictly academic-based scholarships, what you might end up doing as part of a scholarship or an assistantship is that you work with a department or a professor as part of maybe perhaps a work scholarship or an assistantship. And so at some point it's kind of like, academic-based. But yes, you might have to reach out to the department or the university directly about that. Was I a good student when I was a younger? Was I a good student? I don't know. I think if you look just like at the academic record, it might not be as stellar as you might think. I think I was curious, definitely. That kind of fed into my academics later, especially into my research. I think I also became more studious later on. So after undergraduate and moving into my master's, and then after working in industry, then with my PhD, I think I had focused more on research then. So there is hope for you. What's my favorite dish that I could eat for the rest of my life? Oh, there's so much. Oh my goodness. I love sushi, and I love Italian. I love Mexican. I love Korean food. We also talked about pizza, and I love pizza as well. And yes, plain is best, right, Yaslin? King says my voice is just like ASMR. Oh, I'll take that as a compliment. I did have students in the past who said that my voice is kind of like a lullaby, which explains why they fall asleep during my class. And so I do try to change up my tone a little bit. If they are falling asleep, they wake up when I laugh. And so my laugh is about 10 times the sound of my actual speaking voice. And so, yes. My preferred coffee flavor, I was talking with a couple of students about this, but I've stopped drinking, caffeine in general. If I do ever have coffee, I tend to have decaf, and even that's half a shot. And part of it is, I think I was getting really dependent on the kind of the caffeine rush in the morning. When I first stopped drinking caffeine, like the first few days, I had a bit of withdrawal, but afterwards I think it's much better. I get no royalties from any coffee chain whatsoever, so it's not a marketing ploy. But my favorite right now, oh, it's right here. It's actually Coffee Bean. I love their iced vanilla latte. I would get it decaf and just half the shot of decaf. And if I'm particularly in the mood for something sweet, I would get whipped cream on top. And it's kind of pricey. It's actually the price of like a meal, but sometimes it's really worth it. And today is public holiday. I was thinking about celebrating. Is there a possibility to work as a research assistant or something similar after graduation? I think it depends if there are projects available where we have a lot of flexibility in terms of hiring either postdocs or kind of researchers in a more flexible way. But that, I think that really depends on the project. Are you interested in working with me? Can a student take a master's without a thesis, or is it mandatory in every university in Korea? Thank you so much. You'd have to check with each university and each program. There are some programs where it's required to complete a master's thesis, and there are others where it's optional. If we're looking at a school like Ewha Women's University and our Graduate School of International Studies, it's optional, so you have the choice to complete a thesis or not, and so it's completely up to you. If you're part of the Ph.D. program, of course, you do have to finish your Ph.D. dissertation. What's the most meaningful memory I've made at Ewha so far? Oh, there's so many. Definitely students. I say this all the time to my students, and it's not to be, arrogant or anything. I didn't know I would end up in academia. I was in banking, and then I came to academia after doing my PhD. When I talked with my husband, I remember him saying, if you do ever go into academia, and especially if I ever go back to Ewha, his hope or his dream would be that I would be a professor who would love my students well and to take care of them. And so I think just seeing students kind of grow in their studies, not so much in terms of grades. I mean, you don't have to get an A+ in my class for me to think fondly of you, because you can have an A+ in my heart. But I think it's just wonderful to see students grow from fledgling students to those who actually are passionate about research or whatever area that they're interested in, and then they become experts in those areas, and then I reach out to them for help. And that's why I love inviting students back to the classroom, because they make such a meaningful contribution in the area that they are. It's so not about me or any of your professors having a monopoly on what we do, but hopefully we can encourage you to explore the areas that you're passionate about, and that you'd be kind of the experts there. And so I think that's just yes, most meaningful. That and eating. And so it's always eating. What makes an applicant's application stand out? And so I get this question a lot, actually. I think the most important is that you are very clear about your motivation for entering any specific program. It's a kind of obvious next step, that you've done the work prior to actually getting to the point of applying to university, that it kind of makes sense given your future career trajectory. I think also the more you understand the university and the program, and the more specific that you can get and how it will help you in the future, I think will always help you in your application. Did I hate my thesis during the writing process? Love-hate relationship. I think that there comes a point where you read it so much that you just want to be done with it, and so I think that happens. I don't know if I hated it hated, because I was passionate about the topic when I started, but yes, there probably will come that point. If that becomes really, really tough, I think maybe you just might want to take a rest for a couple of days so that you can revisit. And also when you're reviewing a thesis, it's quite helpful to have your advisor or committee members to kind of sift through a close to final version, because it really does help if you have a fresh pair of eyes to look at your thesis. Because sometimes you read it so much that you can't recognize that there are things that you're missing. So yeah. Oh, you're interested in international relations, but you don't know how to go about it since you don't have a relevant background. If it's any help, my undergraduate, master's, and PhD majors are all slightly different. And so I don't think it's so much that it has to be exactly the same major. And there are certainly ways that you can kind of show that your undergraduate background and even your professional background can help you as you approach, say, international relations. I think if it's not really clear, just based on your resume, why it's this particular major for your master's, I think you can do a lot of the kind of connecting the dots for us. Why is it this particular major? What specific issues are you interested in? And not just kind of, general issues, world peace, which is very important, especially these days, certainly, as specific as possible. Perhaps if you have read specific articles, maybe you're working on separate research right now that has to do with a field in international relations. Maybe then there's a way that you could tie that into you would like to contribute in this way, but because you lack the kind of requisite training, that you would like to enter a program where you can kind of learn the theory and the application of that theory for those specific questions. This live is a long time request from your fans. Oh, it's so nice that you would consider yourself a fan. But I'm just as much of a fan of my students, current and previous, as well as future. And so, yes. You're my subscriber. You love my voice so much. Oh. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was mentioning before, my voice kind of puts people to sleep, and so it's nighttime in Korea, so maybe you can use my voice as like ASMR to go to bed. It's like, good night. Get some rest. You're interested in doing PhD research? I see. Oh, teacher recommending you. So if you are applying for the PhD program, it's great if you can have a faculty recommendation from your home university who can maybe vouch for your research ability. And so anything that can, provide more substance for your application, I think would be really helpful. I think there are a few students who want to apply via GKS. I get lots of emails, actually, lots of emails and messages about whether or not I'd be able to give them a letter of recommendation or that I would be willing to advise them on their work. My general response is always the same, and normally it's very bright and motivated students who reach out to me. But in principle, if I've never worked with you, so if I've never actually worked on a research project with you or had you in my class, there's very little basis from which I can actually provide a meaningful recommendation. And so I don't actually know if it's a GKS policy for you to get a letter of advisory or recommendation. Thank you, Daniela. You should get a letter of recommendation from a professor that knows you well. Probably someone from your own university. And so for those who don't know, Daniela is also a GKS scholar here at Ewha, majoring in international business. I have a few videos with her. She's always so generous with her time. And yes, I think the best recommendations are from those who are really familiar with your work. If we admit you to our program, certainly you're in a position, and we're in a position to advise you. I suppose a chicken and the egg kind of question. If there are subjects that are not available in sustainability, I think that's the case actually with a lot of universities. There aren't a lot of universities or programs that actually offer courses in sustainability, and so a lot of students might be in that position. If you're really interested in that area, I think that one thing that you could do is, if you're interested in a specific aspect of sustainability and you can work that in with a program or another class that you're taking, if you do like a final paper, or maybe you have a working paper that you're planning to get published, I think there are other ways to still show us that you're committed to and interested in sustainability. And again, the more specific you can get, I think the best it would be for you. Can one get a recommendation from your unit head at work? Oh, I'm sure that that's possible, especially if you have, after maybe undergraduate work, you've been working in industry. I think that anyone, again, who's really familiar with your work should be able to vouch for you. Oh, it sounds so shameless. I have a video on getting a letter of recommendation, but again, in addition to those who would be best able to help you, so those who know your work, when you do ask for a letter of recommendation, it might be helpful to send specific points that you would like them to stress in their recommendation. Again, they're doing you a favor, and so you don't want to, press too many buttons. I always ask for my students, if I'm recommending them, I always ask for a resume, CV. I always ask for their application or statement of purpose, and then I always ask them what are some, 2 or 3 points that you would like to highlight in that, so that it sounds quite consistent from the student as well as me. And then I think of things that they might have done uniquely with me, so that I can yes, do that. Do I think they will accept international music students too? Oh, certainly. Again, I think your major, whether it's undergraduate or if you're did your master's and then you're going to your PhD, I don't think it's as critical when it comes to your actual application. The most important is, does it make sense that the next step is in another particular major? And if you've done well in your other kind of coursework, we think that you have the potential to, even if you switch majors, that you'll be able to catch on with the work there. And so again, as long as you make the kind of statement consistent, that it's an obvious next step, and how you might actually use your previous work and build on that for your future trajectory. Oh my goodness, I almost stopped the live. So sorry. So you're currently working on research in sustainable development. Are there any suggestions? Oh, if it's for research, for example, like a research publication, if that's the case, and you're trying to get published, this is like another live topic. I always start almost with the academic journal. So I start with the journal that I want to publish in, because you have to know if there's an audience for your research question. I think oftentimes my PhD students, or even advanced master students who are interested in doing research, what they do is they start with what they're interested in, and then they start with a blank piece of paper. I think it's important to do what you're interested in, but there also has to be an outlet for that research. It has to get published for people to read it. And so if you find a journal that you ultimately want to publish in, but then they don't actually publish a lot of papers in that field or regarding that question, then you'd either have to, switch the research journal, or you might have to tweak your research question. And so I would definitely start with the potential journal, looking at what types of research questions they actually publish, what are some of the major data and methods that they actually utilize, because if they're all, for example, empirical, but you're trying to do something very qualitative, it might be very difficult for you to actually get published in there. And so becoming familiar with the journal guidelines and what they actually publish. The live is almost actually over. I think there's like a max for an hour. Thank you so much, Beitu, for Ankula. I need the support. I feel so ancient. Maybe I should sleep early. I try to get to bed early. Like, you won't believe this. I try to get to bed around 10 p.m. if I can. Sometimes I feel like students start the day when I'm getting ready to go to bed. We have to kind of check whether we're talking about AM or PM. Should I do lives frequently? Ooh. Again, I was just trying to test out today, and I was hoping for like 5 people max. And so I think today I might have had like 30 people. So that's really exciting. So thank you so much for joining. An hour has passed so quickly. Thank you so much. If the live stream is helpful, I'll think about doing it more often in the future. If you'd rather just see less of me, that's also fine too. And so then I will know what to do and what not to do going in the future. Yes. Hopefully I can do a live stream in front of Ewha campus, and so then you can actually see what's going on. Thank you so much for joining, especially from Germany, India, I think it was Malaysia as well, Thailand, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and so it's so nice to see you. Hope you have a really good night. Congratulations to our graduates again, and 화이팅 to those who will be beginning their semester.